Good. This is a good place to end. Yeah. Burn up in the sun.
Well, it doesn't really,
That's right, exactly.
doesn't really work. My hands disappear in the magnificence of the sun.
I know, but I think that's also really good. Yeah, kind of there's fire coming out of your fingers, you know.
Yeah.
I summon the sun.
Well, it is my Makaraka, so.
Ah, so it suits you.
All right. Well, welcome back, everyone, to our series related to the planets for each ascendant. And today we're concluding with our final planet for Scorpio, which is the sun. And the sun rules the 10th house for a Scorpio ascendant, so it's very powerful, very important to know what the sun does for a Scorpio ascendant. And the sun is exalted in the 6th house for Scorpio and debilitated in the 12th house for Scorpio. So here I am again once more with Fiona, who has joined me on, I think, the previous two the previous two signs, Scorpio and Libra. Yep. And she's here again. So welcome, Fiona. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Ryan. It's good to be here too.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you. I want to know, what are your thoughts on the fact, what does it mean to us in regards to what the sun represents, what it's all about, the fact that it rules the 10th house for a Scorpio ascendant?
Yes. So you mentioned already it's a really powerful placement, the sun in the 10th house. The sun loves to be in the 10th house. It's where it gets the strongest digbalas. It's where it can really hear the message of its highest self or highest a manifestation of what the sun is about. So this is a lovely place for the sun to be. And the sun is also it's a representative, it's a symbol that represents leadership and authority figures and all of those things that like to be in the 10th house. So it's kind of reverberating this energy of the 10th house and the sun together for Scorpio. So I think it, again, shows the power of a Scorpio ascendant, that they're naturally going to be seen as others through this leadership sun kind of energy. And this is, you know, when we think about what is the 10th house, it's the highest thing in the sky when you're born. So, you know, the sun's going to, of your chart is going to cause you to rise up towards that. So right. I think there's that natural, the path for a Scorpio naturally seems to have this leadership direction.
Yeah, and as we discussed in the previous video on the moon for Scorpio ascendant, you know, and you really should go back and watch that if you haven't. But with the moon, we saw this emphasis towards manifesting devotion, being psychologically healthy, and real psychological health is being able to ride out the storms of life, the positive and the negative. And that in the natural 8th sign, which is Scorpio, represents that shift towards a higher consciousness in a way, a more global consciousness. And in order to move into the sign of Sagittarius, which is that of the guide, the teacher, the guru, you want to have experience in life, both bad and good, such that when people come to you, you're able to share the wisdom and knowledge that you have because you survived.
Yes.
And what we see with the Scorpio ascendant, oftentimes Scorpios are portrayed or seem to be kind of wishy-washy, or they're not really able to necessarily be counted on. It's like they run away from things, or they don't show up when you think that they should. And what we see here is that the sun, ruling over the 10th house, which is the planet of consistency, of duty, of dharma, shows that one of the strengths of Scorpio, if they're able to get into it and tap into it, is to be able to stay the course, stay the path, to ride out difficulties for something greater, for a greater inspiration, for something greater in life, even if it's a greater understanding. And the fact that the sun is exalted in the 6th house, that shows us that this represents a sign, Scorpio, that needs to be consistent in their day-to-day activities. That they need to take care of their health. They need to not be scattered. They need to not run away from things. They need to embrace and tackle difficulties, which many of them will do because the sun will help them in this regard. But they keep moving forward. They're not concerned about comfort or well-being. They're concerned about what needs to be done right now, versus seeing the sun debilitated in the 12th house, which is a house of loss, of renunciation, of running away, of being distant from the world. And so having the sun debilitate in the 12th shows that if the Scorpio does not meet their duties or their responsibilities or runs away from them, they're really hurting the Scorpio's capacity to move from sign 8, that energy of sign 8, into the strength and well-being and understanding and wisdom of sign 9, Scorpio. So it's important to consider all this when we think about the sun. So on your end, when you think about the debilitation and exaltation positions, what kinds of ideas come up for you, Fiona?
Well, I mean, kind of listening to what you're saying there, actually, I want to ask you about what do you think it is that does trip up the sun there? And my only thoughts, as you're saying that, is that obviously we're sharing this exaltation, debilitation axis with Saturn. And so is it that Saturn gets stronger and that self-doubt or the anxieties, because it rules the 2 houses, 3 and 4, whereas this is only ruling 1 house, is that what gives Scorpio this reputation for being flaky or not showing up? So yeah, my question is back to you: what is it about the sun that is tripping them up, that is giving this reputation of maybe the Scorpio?
I think it goes back to Mercury for a Scorpio ascendant. Because again, what does a Scorpio ascendant tend to do due to that Mercury? They tend to overthink things.
Okay.
They tend to make what is right and what is wrong overcomplicated.
Yep.
And with the sun doesn't overthink things. The sun is a natural intelligence, which means it knows, okay, if I want to be here for my family for as long as I can, that I'm going to, eat my shredded wheat and my organic non-GMO shredded wheat in the morning, made from ancient grains. Every morning I'm going to, not overeat, and I'm going to exercise every other day, and I'm going to take responsibility for my resources, and I'm going to maybe take a job that's not as fulfilling as my mind wants it to be, but actually pays the bills so my children can go to school. And you see what I'm saying? It's this idea of the sun of duty, and not duty like, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to. That's like Saturn. When Saturn is bad in the 6th house, they may do their duty, but they're going to complain about it a lot, and everyone's going to know what a hardship it is. Mm-hmm. Versus if you have the sun in the 6th house, the sun doesn't at all. The sun will rarely have it pop into his mind, everything I have to do for the support of others is a hardship.
Yep.
What they will say is, what else am I going to do? This is just the right thing to do. It is right for me to pay my child support if I'm, divorced. It is the right thing for me to do, to take care of myself, to help other people. There's no question there. There's no overthinking of it. It's just a natural understanding. So the problem that people have, I think, with Scorpio Ascendant that trips them up with the sun is the overthinking, rather than just recognizing there is a duty to be done in this world, and you do it.
Yep.
That,
Yeah, but tapping into that is really going to allow this energy of the sun to flourish. So that's a great tip for the Scorpio Ascendant, yeah. Right.
Instead of taking that sun and relinquishing it to the 12th house, where it can't do anything.
Dissipating,
It's debilitated in the 12th house for a Scorpio Ascendant. It needs to be out there in the world, not shining to bring attention to itself, but to be in the 6th house, where it is strong and steady and doing what needs to be done for the good of oneself and everyone around them. So that's the important point of the sun for a Scorpio Ascendant.
Yep. Great.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that before we wrap up today?
No, I have no other thoughts. Is there anything that you would like to add, Ryan?
No, I think we've covered so much. Even a lot of it's been covered in the previous videos as well. But essentially, we don't want to overthink the sun. We don't. The sun rules the 10th house for a reason. It's exalted in the 6th house for a reason. If a Scorpio Ascendant really wants to do well in life, what they need to do is research the positive qualities of the sun. Oh, and look at this. Hold on. Let's see what I have here. I remember that many years ago when you took our grahas and plans course, you made this wonderful handout, which is super long and involved.
And this is where I gave you the idea that I'm a Scorpio Ascendant. It's all coming out now.
Yeah, this was actually written by Fiona, and it's extremely detailed about all the planets, and I've used it when I've taught classes for the Asheville School of Massage and Yoga, and I've used it as I should probably pay you royalties for it, but anyway. One of the things that we see in this is there's a listing of positive qualities, key words. The sun is inspiring, ambitious, vital, has confidence, is generous, has leadership. They accept authority positions. the difficult aspect of the sun deals with arrogance, cruelty, conceit, pomposity, aggression. So if we can consider what are these strengths that the sun has, then the Scorpio ascendant will be able to really do well in life. Again, it's because that sun rules over the 10th house of their karmic impact in the world. But if they give in to some of these difficult qualities of the sun, what they're going to find is they fail quite often, and people are probably pretty upset with them in general. So anyway, so thank you for doing this. I've used this quite a bit.
Great, good. That's great news. Well, as we are getting towards wrapping up, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be here and just really appreciate how much I've learned through the process. And I hope that those viewers are also finding what we've been talking about interesting and thought-provoking. It's really enriched and deepened my understanding of Libra and of Scorpio. So thank you very much for the opportunity. And I wave and wish you well there in the sun, Ryan. And bid you well on your next, because you're heading off to another ascendant soon.
Yes, that's right. Off to Sagittarius. It is pretty hot here with the sun. So,
All right. Well, good luck with Sagittarius.
Yeah, thank you.